There's a way to make an entrance.
This is my destiny.
It was now a conspiracy of witches.
Download Veely today.
I went through a period where I probably cried myself to sleep for like a whole year. My mom and dad were students in England because they sort of came out of that early 50s exodus to go and study in England and things like that. And I was actually born there and then sent back to the grandparents. I was a child being raised by grandparents, aunties, extended family, without parents being present. I think that was really good because everybody doted on me all the time. I had quite a really great childhood in Trinidad. People really focused a lot on children. You know, the children were the hub of the whole community, the hub of the household, etc. And so I benefited from that kind of approach, you know. I miss my parents in the sense of the fact that if you know you have a mom and dad and you communicate with them, then, you know, to a certain degree, I missed that, knowing what they're like, knowing what they look like up close, holding them, that sort of thing. But I think my grandparents were very wise. And so what they used my parents for really was motivation for everything. So academically, I strive to excel because they were going to be able to report to my parents that I did well. I definitely felt when I was coming that I was leaving something really great behind because I had a really, really great childhood in Trinidad, an incredibly great childhood in every way. And I knew that I was going to miss the extended family, the grandparents, especially my grandmother, who I was very, very close to. But because my grandparents had been preparing me for years for eventually joining my parents, I, to some degree, looked forward to it because I was prepared for that. The first thing I remember about Canada, strangely enough, the escalators. I had never been on an escalator before, so I remember getting into Toronto Airport, and when we came to the escalator, I stopped. And I saw my father, you know, he's like, "Come on." I was like, "No," because, you know, I'd never seen moving stairs, right? So strangely enough, that's my first sort of recollection of, okay, this is a different place, was the moving stairs. The other thing that struck me about being in Canada was that I had no idea that there were poor white people. Because in Trinidad, because of its colonial history, most people who were of European descent had a lot of money. They owned things, or they were the bosses, or you know what I mean? So they occupied a certain status within the society, economically at least. And so when I came here and noticed that, you know, there were people who were of European descent and poor, that was shocking to me. My parents were people who were very well-intentioned. When I came to Canada, my father sat me down and he said, "Listen, here's the game plan. You're going to have a PhD by the time you're 27, and we've got it all figured out, and we've saved what we need to, and you won't even have to work between now and then." Of course, you know, life doesn't go like that. Because along with that, he also felt it was incumbent upon me as a child to just follow exactly, you know, every instruction and so on and so. And I was experiencing Canada in a way that, you know, my parents couldn't predict. First of all, I came from a culture where I had a lot of freedom as a child. My grandmother really didn't stress about me straying very far, etc. When I came to Canada, that changed drastically. I would say that between myself and my parents, they developed major rifts and, you know, issues of who was going to control who and how the discipline was going to be done. And, you know, so within the first 2 years, I went through a period where I probably cried myself to sleep for like a whole year. If I think back now, the reason that I was able to weather all of the difficulty of having family dysfunction with my parents were the things that my grandparents put in me. Because I think that when you raise a child with high self-esteem, that they may falter, but eventually they're not going to accept life at a certain level that is less than what they expect of themselves, because their esteem doesn't allow them to. The drumming is what I latched onto. How you doing, Maisha?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, man. All right. Greetings.
Hello.
Have a seat. So did you have a chance to practice?
Yes, but I forgot the rhythm.
Mostly I teach as a way of giving back. It was mostly because I was interested in African culture. The fact that I became a good drummer, I think is just gift. When I had an opportunity, I went back to school and I did the MBA program. I did a master's in business. I've lived in Canada for 37 years. As a Black man, an African man in Canada, I don't walk around ever being called names by people or, to where racism of the overt kind. I'm hardly ever subjected to that. That's rare. That would surprise me if it actually happened in Canada. However, racism of an institutional kind, I've experienced in Canada. According to the most recent census, people like myself who've immigrated have much more education in terms of the levels of secondary and tertiary education than the average remaining Canadian. However, have substantially lower employment rate. That's no surprise to me. See what I mean? Because I always feel that a Caucasian person who has an MBA and can play the hell out of the drums, right, would definitely, in the society I live in, live a whole lot better life in terms of the success factor. Definitely. I wanted to have children that were raised in Canada because I have a lot of hope for Canada. So I try to give my children that perspective, that, some of the things that we're talking about, some of the things that you yourself are encountering, you have to help to fix it. This is your country. So you have a job to do. Part of your job is to educate yourself. Part of your job is to get to understand people that are in the country, because later on, when you have jobs or when you have your business or whatever, these are the people that you'll be interacting with. Canada is, it's like this scale, that, and I think that we have a responsibility to try to tip it in a direction that will be beneficial to all people.
When people know we are 1 or 2 or 3 days in Canada, they all said, "Welcome to Canada." I was born in Soviet Union, and it was very strong system of everything is recognized, and it was easy to build a future because it was just few paths that you have just to choose from. When it was Soviet Union, artists get a lot of work from government to promote communism ideas, and art was always well paid. When Soviet Union collapsed, just artists, it was no need for them. Just no work at all in art. It was like dead field. It was so sad time for me. I was thinking, I want to do art for my life. And nobody seems need this art in Ukraine right now. And I have two choices, to stay in Ukraine and to wait. I decided to choose another way. Maybe this is more difficult because I decided to change country. I met my husband when I was in art university. He was a student at the same time. When I proposed him to leave, to immigrate to Canada, he just agreed. He liked this idea. When we were above Toronto on a plane, and I saw streets, and I was surprised how straight were there. Each house was so organized, very nice, accurate, green grass in November. I could not imagine it can be at all. And when we came here, streets clean, people polite. Где трак, Даня? I was shocked when we came here. We can't talk this language, even though we studied it. It's just culture shock. And in a store or somewhere, I thought maybe people will react somehow bad, with bad emotions. But when people know we are 1 or 2 or 3 days in Canada, they all said, "Welcome to Canada." I don't know. You can try to go to a lot of countries, but not people in every country will tell you just like, "Welcome to my country." And this is very emotional. It's very nice. I like this. And I saw Toronto on third day after we arrived, and it was Santa Claus parade. And it was so fun. People were in the streets sitting in chairs, and everybody was happy. And Santa Claus parade, it doesn't matter. Even if you live here for years and each year you will go to Santa parade, you will be happy there. And it was our first time. And if I say about strong emotion or big impression about Canada, it was Santa Claus parade.
Данька, хочешь на детскую площадку пойти поиграться?
We found that Canada has very nice program to help immigrants, and we found that Canada is growing. It's a huge country, and more people are needed here. Of course, you're a newcomer. You need to get new documents, health card, driver license. You have to communicate to government officers. And for me, it was a shock that you can talk to people, they don't shout at you, they smile, they help, they don't demand money from you. You can get any information without any problem, anything. All information open. Some people, they complain that there is lines to get something. No, you don't know about Ukrainian lines. So it's just the system works there here great. I like it. When I came to Canada, of course, my dream work would be connected to art. This is my stained glass studio, and this is in our house, and I'm really happy that we can work here and we do projects that we develop and discuss with customers. And this is just working space with shelves and glass, but this is a great place to work because we do our own pieces of art. Canada is one of the best places for people to have opportunity to do something, to get something. It's a great place.
I was knocking the door, the guy opened the door, and then he picked up 2x4 and chased me. He was going to hit me with a 2x4. I lived in India until 1975. In in India. There are no opportunity for the better life. Like, for example, if I want to join the politics over there, I don't think I can do that. Because when you want to run for any party, you have to contribute to the party, like a lot of money. If somebody, a poor person, have no money, it's hard for him to get and to involve in the politics. My wife, she was here in Canada from 1972 until February 1975. She went back to India. We got married. Then she sponsored me in India. And I got the immigration paper within 1 month. So I came with her end of April. When I came here, I have Bachelor of Arts degree in English and Political Science. So I have a knowledge about the English and also the political system for India and Canada. So I don't have any problem when I came here. I worked in the factory as a general laborer. A few years after that, I said, no, I have some money, I have apartment, I have a car, my wife is working, and I came to the real estate. So that was hard in the beginning, but gradually I was very successful after that. I was one of the top salesperson in the home life. Then I joined the Liberal Riding Association, and I was the president of the Riding Association for Bramley, Gore, Malton, 2 years.
Good morning, Mr.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Fine. How are you?
Okay, good.
Good, thanks. And then the people asked me if I can run as a Liberal candidate for the nomination. Another 4 people was running against me, so I won the nomination in 1992. That was the first time somebody was running with the turban for the member of parliament. So when I was door knocking, one of the women, when I knocked the door, she told me, you are not going to represent us, you are going to represent the people in Punjab. And I told her, no, I'm representing all the communities. If you want to talk to me, I can discuss with you. She said, no, she shut the door and she said some bad words. And there was another area. I was knocking the door, the guy opened the door, and then he picked up 2x4 and chased me. He was going to hit me with a 2x4. So that was a bad reception too. And after that, when I knocked the second door, the woman, she told me the same. She said, you are not going to reply. I said, that if you give me some time, I can discuss with you. Can I come in and talk to you for 10-15 minutes? And she said, okay, come in. And we discussed for 20 minutes, and finally she said, yes, seems to me you are representing all the people, and I'm happy the way you talk to me, and I'm going to vote for you. I have faced so many obstacles during the campaign, but still I won with 4,900 more votes than my opponent. Before 1993, there was a tradition that nobody can sit in the House of Commons with covering head. But at that time, I spoke to the House leader, and the House leader spoke to the other opposition parties, and they agree that turban is the very important part and parcel of the Sikh religion. So they agree with me, and they allow me to sit with the turban. That's the first time in the history that happened. Every time when the election time comes, I'm getting more and more votes every time. So that's why I think the people, they welcome me much better as compared to before that. And I'm very proud that they understand me and I understand them, and they help me. I'm trying to help them. I think anybody who in Canada who come over here and do the hard work with honesty and hard work, you can achieve whatever you want.
I lived in Rome, right, which is a big, big place. And it's really not safe. The first time we came to Canada, it was for vacation. It was in 1992, and it was just my husband and I. We happened to have Canadian friends, so we came over to visit them. And that was a Christmas. So the first time I came, I actually was surrounded by snow and ice, and it was a beautiful, extreme environment from my point of view. In 2002 and 2001, we came here again as tourists, and we spent around 6-7 weeks every summer here. What we did was that from Toronto, we rented a minivan and we packed the kids in, and we started to cross the country. I never saw in my life so much space in terms of land and in terms of sky. And the feeling of not seeing anything blocking the horizon, if not the Rockies at a certain point, which come up just like from nowhere, you know. It's something that from a European person is a life-changing experience, and I'm not overestimating this. It's literally a life-changing experience. Why did I move to Canada? Well, first, because it was the right phase of my life to make a big change, a radical change, and because Canada was the best place to do it. When I came to Canada by myself to try to organize I like to call it the nest for the rest of the family, I started looking for the schools and tried to also become more familiar with the school system in the first place. So I remember knocking at the door of the principal. The school was already closed, there was nobody around. They just stormed in, you know, and they said, I don't have time, I have to talk to the principal, explain me how this works, you know, how this country works. In 2 weeks, my kids are going to be here. They're going to go to school in September and they don't speak English. And so he explained me the procedure. He told me that the government offers this English as second language program. So the kids would have been tested, the English knowledge, and if it was not enough, they would be sent to a school which is holding this. And this is exactly what happens. And it was an amazing program.
When we moved to Canada, me and my sister only knew a few things. I only knew 2 words, which were yellow and blue, which are really simple. And my sister only knew 1 sentence. The only sentence I knew was no gravy, please. And that's all we knew when we came to Canada.
Like all the other immigrant kids in this program, they ended up having the highest mark in spelling and all the rest, because of course they wouldn't rely on the parents for it, you know, so they were speaking an amazing English at the end of these 2 years. The first impression I had of Canada as a resident was a very strong feeling of safety. What my girls could do was simply not imaginable in Italy. I lived in Rome, which is a big, big place, and it's really not safe. So kids do not walk by themselves to school, no matter how close it is. They do not go out and buy the newspaper. They do not go out by themselves ever. Kidnapping, driving, you know, like madmen. People do not stop at stop sign. They do not stop at red light unless there is a very good reason. Now, my daughters can walk to school, bike to school, go and visit friends without the concern that are they going to come back or not, you know, which is a fear that I lived in, and it was embedded in me for forever. So I was not even aware of it until I actually came here. And this is the most important thing, the most important cultural shock, a feeling of actually being able to walk around as a woman in the evening, for example, or my daughters as kids without really running risks. It's very strange how many possibilities are opening to you when you feel safe. And this is a very important thing. What does it mean to be Canadian? This is a nice question. It means living in a place that you can change if you want, that you can be part of, that you can improve. A very open country, a country of opportunity. I would never be able to do what I was doing, to live this quality of life in Italy, and I'm aware of it. Here, you wake up one day and you decide for a new career shift, and you know, you take a couple of courses, you decide how to move around it, and you can actually do it. So today, what I'm doing is I'm an underwater photographer, and I also own and operate a personal training studio. When I'm asked by my friends, what do you recommend? What would I do if I moved to Canada? Would I be able to do the same thing I'm doing here? I'm always saying, think out of the box, dig out your dreams, the wildest dreams you have, because these dreams can come true in Canada.